what? This. Okay. Amri Nardoi. Loi kasvinan or rachta amaltatale. Let's say the person has deposited an item with somebody. Beis Din can write a star, that's called an arachta, to claim the pikadon because the guy is not giving it to him. So Beis Din will write like an eviction, not an eviction is getting people out, but here a star that gives him the right to take the item. But they don't do it amitaltali. Amar Veshalam Eimer my time. Why not? Amar Lei, Yishum Rav Yechdan, Shum Rav Yechdan, Gezel v'nos Yashlo Abaylim. That if somebody stole something and the Bailim have not abandoned hope, Shneim Einan Yecholim La'agdish. Neither of the part to be Magdish. The Gazlan Zelef Yishena Shalom, because there was no Kinyan. V'zelef Yishena Bershu, so the Bailim don't have the item. Since this metatlan is not in the possession of the guy who has this star, and you can't do it with a third party. We don't write this kind of star on a metaltalin that the guy claims that he doesn't have. He doesn't. Somebody's claiming, "Oh, I deposited this item with Chaim Yankel." Chaim Yankel says, "I don't have it." So Beis Din will not write on metaltalin a star for that. Why? Taima the kafre. Beis Din will never write a document that makes them look like a liar. It looks like the star Hashah is a liar. Avalim lo kafre, but if the guy had never denied having the pikot in kasvina, we do write it down. Lami nardoi, urachta de loksiv bezil don v'zaki v'afik lenafshe. If the star doesn't have it written, go and adjudicate with the person where you claim that it was deposited with, and be zoicha in the item, and you can take it out and take it. If those words were not written, less b'meshosh, the star has no power. My time. Mishum de amar leheich, the guy who's getting claimed, give me this item, can say, lav bal dvarim didi. Beis Din has written a star for another person to get it on behalf of somebody else. So the guy that it was nifkad with can say, listen, you're not my baldin. I have a dealing with a guy's claiming that he gave me something. I'll deal with him, not with you. Amr Abaye, the iksiv bey, lemechza l'shlish v'l'revia, that there is, the star says that he's being given permission to deal with him personally for half of it or a third of it or a fourth of it. The one who's being claimed against has been agreed to at least adjudicate part of it. He has to adjudicate all of it. And if the guy that was given the star grabs the item, we don't take it away from him. But Ravashi Omar, even the Kasvile, since it's written in this star, called the Misane Beidina Kabal Salai, anything that comes out of this Beis Din, I accept. Shliach Shavya, he was made a Shaliach of Beis Din. V'ikid Amar Shut V'Shav, that he's a partner with the guy who is claiming that he had deposited something. A Shliach versus a Shutav. Lamai Nafkamina. What would be the difference? Lemitvis palga. If he's a partner, he can grab at least half of it. But the hilchas shliach shavya, the one who's holding the arshah doesn't have the right to grab the item himself. If he was a shutef, he would. But because he's only a shaliach, he can't. Mishnah. God of Apishnai. So, two witnesses come and say this guy stole. And the ganif, Tavach, or Mochar, and the same Eidim testify that he shechted and sold. Or, Apishnai Macherim, means there's one set of Eidim that testified that he stole. And then another set of Eidim saw him shecht or sell. In either case, says this Mishnah, Mishan Tashlume Arba V'chamisha. He pays the fine. Gonavu Mochar b'Shabbos. He stole and he sold on Shabbos. Now, you notice what it left out. It didn't say shechted. Because if you shecht, that's an Isra Malach on Shabbos, which would give you mis skila. And there's a principle of kam le'mid Rabbi Binei, that if you have a monetary claim and a capital punishment, it wipes away the monetary claim. But gonavu machar b'Shabbos, or gonavu machar l'avodah zarah, or he sold it to avodah zarah, gonav v'tavach b'yom kippurim. Now, if you shechted on Yom Kippur, there's only kares. There's no misa of spezdin. So, and Gonav Mishel Aviv, he stole from his father, and then he shechted, and then his father died, and he's the heir. Or Gonav v'tovach v'achakach higdish. He stole, shechted, and was magdish what was left. In all these cases, Misham Tashlumi Arba V'chamisha. Gona v'tavach. But let's say the shechita doesn't allow him to eat the meat. For example, the refuah. Some kind of medicinal purpose. Or the klavim, or the animal was going to be fed to dogs, or a shoichet v'nitzas treif. They do a post-mortem and they find that there's a hole in the lung and it's treif. Or shoichet chulun bazara, which is not allowed to be eaten. Mishalim tashmei arba v'chamisha. You still pay dal v'chamisha. Reb Shimon poiter b'shnei elu. The last two cases, a shechita that does not permit you to eat the meat, it's not called a shechita. And therefore you wouldn't pay daled vehe. Lema masnisin to lok Rabbi Kiva. The Rabbi Kiva, ha'omar, person who says, it says in the Torah, pishnayim edim, or pi shleisha edim yakum davar. What is a davar? Davar v'lo chatzi davar. So our Mishnah that said that if one group of Eidim said he was a ganif, and another group of Eidim says he shechted, our Mishnah said he pays dal vehe. But Reb Akiva would say it's not one davar, it's two dvarim or chatzi davar. You don't have one edis that's testifying on the whole thing. Each testified only on a half. The Tanya, where do we see this debate? On Rabbi Yossi, Kishalach Abba Chalafta, it's Rav Yechim ben Nuri l'mad Torah. Abba Chalafta went to Rav Yechim ben Nuri to learn Torah. Varmi la Rav Yechim ben Nuri Eitzel Abba Chalafta. Some say it was vice versa. Amar lo. Harei sha'achla shana rishona b'fnei shnayim. There is a din of chazaka. How do you establish ownership of a piece of land? Well, if you see a person squat and is living on a piece of land for 3 consecutive years, it's assumed to be his. And you have witnesses. So you have a person ate Shana Rishona b'fnei Shnai. He has 2 witnesses that saw him eat from this field the first year. And then Shnia b'fnei Shnai. Second year, another set of 80. Shlishis b'fnei Shnai, Mahu. Do we say that these 3 different testimonies are mitztarif, and therefore the guy establishes chazaka? Amar la rezu chazaka. He said yes. Amar la afani omer kei. I agree. Elash Rav Akiva choylek b'davar. Shaya Rav Akiva omer. Davar v'lo chatzi davar. That unless you have 2 eidim that testify for all 3 years, you don't have a complete testimony. Amar Abaya, we could still learn our Mishnah regarding the Ganef, afilu tem Rabbi Akiva. Mila moide Rabbi Akiva b'shnayim, v'oimrim kiddush. You have 2 eidim that say, this woman received kiddushin. U'shnayim oimrim ba. And then you have 2 witnesses who come and say they had relations. 2 other witnesses. Now, now, the eidim that are testifying that they had relations, it's not a valid halachic testimony unless there was also Edi Kiddushin. Because now we say they have had Nisuin. Otherwise, they're just sleeping together. So, Kivan Shedi Kiddushin Lo Tzrich Le'Edi Bia. But the Edi Kiddushin stand alone. They don't need Edi Bia. Their testimony says she was Miskadesh, which has its own independent halacha. Yet we call it Dover Karinen Bey. We don't say that it's a half a Dover. We say it's a full Dover. Hachanami, regarding stealing and then shechting, just because there are eidim that says they saw somebody shecht a cow, that doesn't mean anything unless there was also Edi Geniva in order for it to be mischayev something. But kivin she'edi Geniva lo tzricha le'edi tvicha. The witnesses that testify about the theft, they don't need the Edi tvicha. It stands on its own. So dover karinam bey. So Rabbi Akiva might still consider it a dover. However, the Rabbanon, who argue with Rabbi Akiva and say that even if you have witnesses 3 different years, it still works. So high dover v'lachatzi dover l'mu'utei mai. So they also have the limud of dover v'lachatzi dover. What case is that? What case is being excluded according to Chachamim? The different l'mu'utei echad oimer echad begabo. So you're trying to determine if a 12-and-a-half-year-old girl who's a Nara has become a Bogeres. She becomes a Bogeres when she has 2 hairs. And the nafkamina, there's a lot of nafkaminas. Can you give him, can you do yibum and other dinim, where we need to know whether she's a Bogeres or not. So one aide says that he saw echad begabah. There's a hair like behind her. The echad oimer echad bekresa. And another single aide says, no, it was on her pubic area. This is going to be rejected by the Chachamim as a chatzi dover. So the Gemara is surprised. What do you mean? Hi, that case doesn't need a special miut. That's a chatzi dover, chatzi edusu. You need 2 edim to see 2 hairs. Each one only saw 1 hair. So Elo, it's got to be something else to be excluded by davar v'lo chatzi davar kohen chachamim. L'meute shnayim oimim echad begabo. You have two witnesses that saw one hair behind her. Ushnayim oimim echad bekresa. One sees it in front. So even though you have two Eidim, Hani Amri Ktanahi, each one only saw one hair, so she's still a Ktana. Hani Amri Ktanahi. So these Eidim are not being made that she's a Gedoyla. That's a Chatzidova. And I'm not mitzvah the two together. That's what I'm going to stop. Let's stop here because we want the time to prepare for Shabbos. And we'll learn tomorrow at 6:30.
Okay.
6:30 is good.
Very
Shabbos.
good, everybody. Good Shabbos, everybody.
6:30 is good. Shabbat shalom. What time
Good
is it?
Shabbos. Good
And
Shabbos.
the Navi Shir will be at 7.